And now we've got the man that's going to really talk for Kansas.
Yeah.
All right. Sir, thank you, sir. All right. Well, thank you very much, and thank you for being here, standing with Texas. I just want, I'm your Attorney General, Kris Kobach, for those of you who don't know. I just wanted to let you know some of the things we are doing. You probably know that about 24, 25 governors stood with Texas and said we'll provide National Guard resources. Unfortunately, the Kansas governor did not. However, the Kansas Attorney General, we have signed a letter siding with Texas in all of these issues. We're providing legal support. We wrote a amicus brief, which is a friend of the court brief, defending Texas's use of barriers, both in the water and on the shore along the Rio Grande. They have absolutely the right to do this. They have a constitutional right to do this, based in Article 1, Section 10 and Article 4, Section 4. They are defending themselves against an invasion. That is a term that the framers of the Constitution used that absolutely applies to this situation. The other thing to point out, though, is that Texas has been fighting this fight in court for a long time, and we've been standing with them. In 2023, Texas filed a lawsuit that Kansas was happy to join as a fellow state plaintiff, basically saying the parole. I don't know how many of you have heard about the abuse of the parole system. You've heard that word? Okay. Immigration parole is not like garden variety parole where someone is convicted of a crime and then gets parole. Immigration parole is something that was created in federal law a long time ago, and it's basically supposed to be used on a case-by-case, very rare basis to say, you come to the border, you need a life-saving surgery, there's some urgent humanitarian reason why you need to come to the United States, and just for you, the Department of Homeland Security, or prior to that, prior to 2003, it was the Department of Justice, would give you what's called parole to come in for a limited period of time and then leave once you receive that urgent humanitarian service that you're seeking. What the Biden administration has done is said, you know what? We're going to give 360,000 people a year parole, and we're going to let you apply for it on an app, and it's going to be given en masse to huge numbers of illegal aliens who would otherwise have no legal basis for entering the United States. Their actions are completely in violation of federal law. They twist the meaning of law grotesquely, and so Kansas is standing with Texas in that lawsuit. It was currently in federal court to say no, they are breaking federal law. We have other lawsuits. Kansas is the lead state in a suit that's about to begin probably this spring. The Biden administration has announced that not only is the border wide open, they're giving benefits to illegal aliens in the United States. They've announced they're going to give Obamacare benefits. That's right, our taxpayer dollars will be used to subsidize health insurance coverage and health care for certain categories of illegal aliens. We'll be leading that. Texas will be one of the states serving as our co-pilot or our riding sidekick with us in that case. In every suit, one state takes the lead, the other states hopefully join in. And one last thing I want to talk about, you've all heard about this bill that came out of the Senate that Mitch McConnell made a ridiculous decision to support, and of course Lankford is supporting. I've litigated, many of you know I've worked in the area of immigration for 20 years, and I've litigated a lot of cases, and I'm very familiar with federal law. And the proponents of the bill say, well, we're going to shut down the border when it gets above 4,000 or 5,000 or 8,000, whatever number of thousands of illegal entries there are in a given day. Federal law already shuts down the border to zero. In 1996, Congress passed a bill, which Bill Clinton, wanting to get reelected, signed. That bill says that when you come to the U.S. border and you are apprehended by any law enforcement officer, you must be detained for a deportation proceeding, or you must be returned to a neighboring country, i.e. remain in Mexico, while you wait for whatever proceeding you're waiting for. You're not released in the United States. You're either turned back into Mexico, or you are released, you are detained in the United States until whatever proceeding occurs. That you may recall, way back in 1996, we're going to end catch and release. That's what Newt Gingrich and what the Republicans hoped they were doing. They were trying to end catch and release. So we already have a closed border in federal law. The border says nobody gets released in the United States. And President Trump was the first president to enforce the Remain in Mexico part. Some people think he invented that. No, he's just the first president who said we're going to enforce the law. The law says you're supposed to remain in Mexico if we don't detain you. And we have to recognize what federal law is now. The Biden administration is just violating the law. And they're doing worse than violating the law. They're enforce our border enforcement agents to violate the law. That 96 statute also says that the immigration official shall detain the individual. Not that the individual shall be detained, but the immigration official. In other words, it puts the onus on the Border Patrol officer or the ICE officer. The Biden administration is ordering the Border Patrol or ICE officer, has been for the past 3 years, been ordering them to break the law. It's just such a flagrant violation of the law. So the notion that we would pass a new law which okays levels of immigration for thousands and thousands of aliens every day and implies that that's okay, and then claims to shut down the border is nonsense. We already have statutes that shut down the border. The Biden administration will ignore this one as well, but worse than that, this new proposed bill would actually give a legal blessing to having thousands of aliens coming in every day. So it would be far worse than the status quo, and it's all intended to make Americans think that the immigration problem is solved. The Biden administration's got it in hand. One last thing. This border crisis we have right now is not just a crisis. It's a planned event. This was intentionally created by the Biden administration. The Biden administration has all kinds of reasons why they think that's a good idea, and many on the left in the American political system seem to think that's a good idea, presumably because they want to change the voting population of the United States. But let me tell you, it is a design of this administration. Remember, they put a 100-day moratorium, first day in office. Biden signs an order creating a 100-day moratorium on all deportations, or they're also called removals. That Texas brought a lawsuit, successfully knocked that one down. Then they issued a series of guidance memos telling immigration officers to break the law and to not detain individuals, not remove individuals that federal law says must be detained and must be removed. And so they have been breaking down the law since day one. Literally, the first day that the president took office, he has been issuing orders that violate federal law and order other people to break federal law. So the notion that we should take seriously the idea that the Biden administration will enforce whatever tiny little dentures there are in this bill is nonsense. But the bigger problem is it's dangerous. It would undermine what we already have in federal law. A level 0 closed border is already federal law. The Biden administration is violating that law, undermining that law. And so I would urge you to do what I already know you're going to do, and that is talk to your members of Congress and say, absolutely, we cannot support this bill, and we will stand with Texas. And I want you to know that the Attorney General's office will continue to litigate with Texas. I'm regularly in contact with Ken Paxton, the Texas Attorney General, who thankfully survived an impeachment attempt over this past year. He has been really carrying a lot of the water for the rest of us in taking every legal action we can. This subject, as you know, is near and dear to my heart. I pledge to you I will continue to fight in every way we can to stop this invasion which is coming across our southern border. Thank you so much.